All right, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Mover Mailbag. Hope you guys are having a great week. Hope you enjoyed the Camaro review. Just to remind you, this is an author vlog, so if you haven't picked up a book, please do. That's what helps supports the channel. And in general, you know, sometimes I'm going to do car videos, sometimes I'm going to do gun videos, sometimes I'll do airplane videos, fighter pilot videos, whatever. It's not specific to one thing or another. So if you're just looking for just fighter pilot stuff, yes, there's a lot of that on this channel, but again, you know, I'm an author, so this is my author vlog, and that's what this is about. First actual mail, I got thank you on behalf of the U.S. Embassy in Croatia, and got this awesome shirt from Thomas, and it's the Marine Security Guard Detachment in, I'm not even going to try pronouncing Zagreb, Croatia. I'll probably butcher that, but thanks Thomas. Real small world. We had a mutual friend that I worked with way back in the day, but in the interest of privacy I won't read the letter, but it was really awesome and I really appreciate it. All right, so moving on, I would like to start this time with the nice letters. We kind of did it backwards last time. So this comes from Sherry, and Sherry says, just finished reading the entire Spectre series, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I'm now beginning Absolute Vengeance. I've never read any military thrillers before, but was hooked after book one, even until the wee morning hours. Like yourself, I'm an avid dog lover with 2 rescues of my own, so it's no surprise that Zeus is my favorite character. I hope Finney Flight will also be available in book form, not just audio. That's about it. Keep up the good writing, Sherry. Thanks, Sherry. I really appreciate it. Thanks for reading. You know, I'm a real big fan of rescues. I've got 2 rescue dogs, and you know, I believe that they saved my life when things were the worst. You know, after my dad died, they were there for me, and I'm a firm supporter of Adopt Don't Shop. So go to your local rescue, Humane Society, and find a dog, maybe even an older dog. They're great. They'll be there with you, and they will appreciate you saving their life. On to the fighter pilot stuff from David, who says, becoming a fighter pilot. Hi. I was just wondering about the different paths I could take to become a fighter pilot. I'm currently a freshman in high school, and I was thinking about going to the Air Force Academy. However, if I decide to go to a different college first, or if I don't get into the academy, how else can I become a fighter pilot? Thanks. David, recommend going. I've got a playlist that is called Career Advice on Becoming a Fighter Pilot. Just watch all those videos. I laid out how all the processes work, especially, you know, officer training school, Guard Reserve, and that'll probably help you out. But there are many different ways that you can go about doing that, OTS, Guard Reserve, and today I'm going to talk more about the Guard Reserve because I got a couple questions about that. This next one, before we get into the Guard Reserve, comes from Jack, and Jack says, greetings, CW Lemoine. My name is Jack, and I'm a fresh 2nd lieutenant currently going through undergraduate pilot training at Vance Air Force Base. Just like so many of the competitive students here, my biggest dream is to one day fly fighters. I am just now finishing up phase 1, which is academics and sims. And I was wondering if you had any tips and or advice for students like me wishing to track to the T-38 after completing phase 2, the T-6. Thank you for taking the time to share your thoughts on the subjects. I really think that would be worthwhile to hear your advice in the matter. Very respectfully, Jack. I'm going to let Deuce answer that from one of the videos we did together.
Number 1. Don't be a douche.
That's rule number 1.
That is rule number 1, pretty much in life. And number 2 is to work hard. And number 3 is to help guys and gals get better.
Okay.
That's it.
Help your bro.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good advice.
If you think about it, like, you know, like since we're going to like the gun range, you know, like gun safety, like 101, like treat every gun like it's loaded, and like the other rules, like so long as you do like that rule, like the other rules like follow.
Yeah.
It's kind of like don't be a douche.
Yeah.
Like everything else will follow.
That's true. That's true.
And that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah. I just gave 3 rules in my last video.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which could have all been summed up with, don't be a douche.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
You know, in the weapons school, like what we preach is being humble, approachable, and credible. But you know, for a young guy, like I think like those 3 things, like stick to them.
I think you can strive towards humble, approachable, and credible.
Absolutely.
Like from the beginning.
Yes.
Like you can just start living that way from the beginning. So you got it straight from the weapons officer's mouth. Basically, don't be a douche. Help your friends out. Study. Work hard. Cooperate to graduate. If you do those things, you got a good shot. I mean, It's all about attitude, and it's all about, you know, failure is okay. It's how you react to failure that's going to make or break you in this program. So make sure you're helping each other out. Don't try to be too competitive, because at the end of the day, you graduate as a class, not as individuals. This comes from Ben. He says, Dear Mover, I'm currently a junior in high school and I'm interested in flying for the Air Force. I've pretty thoroughly researched all my options, but I had a few questions about things that I could not easily find answers for. I'm not thrilled about the USAFA, which is the Air Force Academy, lifestyle. So I'm looking at college AFR ROTC as a way to earn a pilot slot through the rated board that takes place after field training. I've also noticed that Guard Reserve UPT boards are often open to applicants that are within 1 year of graduating college. Could an AFR ROTC cadet apply for Guard Reserve UPT even after the active duty commitment that comes with junior year? Could an AFR ROTC cadet commission directly into ANG or AFR as a pilot? These things seem incompatible, but I'm naturally curious. Additionally, I understand that if I were to go through AFR OTC, there are no guarantees of receiving a pilot slot, and I could end up non-rated, even if I'm medically qualified to fly and give ROTC 100%, 110%. Regardless, I would be happy to serve my country, but in the spirit of making them tell me no, I'm curious whether non-rated officers can apply for Guard Reserve, UPT, or even an active duty pilot slot, despite already commissioning into an officer career path. I cannot easily find the information on this subject, even on base ops, bogey dope, etc. Hope you can shed some light on these topics. Thank you for your service to the country and the internet community. We all appreciate the information and inspiration you provide. It helps us pursue our dreams, Ben. Okay, one thing at a time. All right, so yes, ROTC cadets can apply to Guard Reserve even after the active duty commitment. I don't know if it's still called Palace Chase. It might be Palace Front or Palace Acquire, but it's very rare, but it does happen. It's based on the needs of the Air Force. I would not expect that to be a thing. So yes, but probably not. Your best bet, I mean, once you have the active duty commitment, especially with the way Manning is now, I just don't see them letting you go. But it's possible. That's just something you'd have to work out with the unit that hires you, and also the active duty, AFPC, which is Air Force Personnel Center. For the other part of your question, as far as if you go non-rated and want to apply, yes, that is absolutely possible. There are, oh, hi, Kaiser. Hi, buddy. Hi. Hi. We were just talking about rescue dogs. Yeah. Adopt, don't shop. Where were we? So, non-rated boards. Yes, there are non-rated boards, and there are also are non-rated to rated boards. And there are also opportunities within the Guard Reserve, as long as you're not super senior. And I've known guys, and Deuce even talked about it, navigators that have gone to pilot, which is rated, but still, it happens. Logistics officers, people from different career fields. It's something that happens. So yes, it's absolutely a chance. You'd have to go to a Guard Reserve unit and rush them just like anybody else, and then get hired. This is actually a comment that I thought would be a good one. First, I want to thank you for your series and inspiration. I'm on track to get a bachelor in aerospace engineering and Air Force ROTC. I'm wanting to become an F-16 or A-10 pilot and read your books. Didn't know you had a YouTube channel. Thanks for all the advice. Just have a few questions if you have time. Since you have the option to choose your aircraft in reserve, if you wanted to transfer to active duty, would you still fly the same aircraft? I am in Air Force ROTC and didn't know if you could go into reserves without going to OTS. Trying to find the best way to fly the aircraft I would like, and if I need to study or do whatever, I will. Just want the best possible way. Thanks for the information. Making people tell me no has helped so much. Thank you. Surf is life. So that goes into how this works. So reserve and guard units are kind of a different... it's a different setup. If you go active duty, it's all based on the needs of the Air Force. So, it could be luck and timing. It could be whatever they have available when you track select. So if there's no fighter slots available, then you'll go heavies. It doesn't matter what your grades are. And that doesn't happen much these days, but it's possible. Or if you really wanted to fly the F-16 and your track select only has F-15s and F-22s, that's what you'll fly because it's based on the needs of the Air Force. Whereas on the reserve and guard side, you are getting hired by a unit. So, for example, when I was hired, the 706 Fighter Squadron was an A-10 unit in New Orleans. So I got hired by the 706 Fighter Squadron. I knew I was going to fly A-10s. The only reason I didn't fly A-10s was because Base Realignment and Closure Commission came out and closed our unit, and then Hurricane Katrina happened, and they said, well, we're just going to close it early. So I had to go find another job. So I went to Homestead, which is the Makos, and flew F-16s there. So when I went to pilot training, I knew I was going to be an F-16 pilot. It's the same thing with a guard unit. You will fly whatever they have. So the way that works is they put out an announcement and say, hey, we're having a UPT hiring board. You send in your application packet. I recommend doing it exactly like they say. So if they say specifically they want your college transcripts and they want it in this format, do it exactly as they say, because that shows attention to detail. So you go to the board, they like you, you get hired, they send your stuff up to either the Guard Bureau or AFRC rated board. You get the okay, you're medically cleared, now they sponsor you for pilot training. And as soon as you graduate pilot training, you go back to that unit, assuming you make the grades throughout the process. So you'll know what you're going to fly. As far as going active duty after that, I don't know why you would. That sounds like just pain for no reason. I cannot think of a valid reason, because within the Guard and Reserve, there are full-time slots. There's Air Reserve Technicians, there are AGRs. I can't think of a reason why you'd get hired by a reserve unit and then say, yeah, I want to go active duty, and then go do that. Is it possible? Yes. There are ways to go do that, and yeah, you'd fly whatever you were qualified to fly in, but I don't know why that just escapes me as why anybody would want to do that. All right, I'm wanting to become an F-16 or A-10 pilot. It's good to have goals right now, but I would not go chasing airplanes at this point in your career. And the reason for that is you don't know in 5 to 10 years what the airframe layout's going to be in the Air Force. There may not be any more A-10s. There may be minimal number of F-16s left. It may just be F-35 and F-22. Your goal should be to do as well as you can, and whatever you get, do a good job, especially if you're going active duty, because like I said, you're not going to know what you're going to fly. So you don't want to be the kid that's in track select, drop night, and gets an F-15 and starts crying because you're an entitled kid that thought that you were always going to fly the F-16. It just doesn't work like that. Definitely have a goal, but don't be or be flexible about it. And don't go chasing airplanes, because that's not going to do well for you at all. So I'm in the Air Force ROTC and didn't know if you can go into the reserves without going to OTS. No. Well, if you're commissioned through ROTC, you can, and that goes back to the other question. Yes, there's a Palace Chase, Palace Acquire, Palace Front, whichever one it is. It's very rare. So if you commission through ROTC, because that's all ROTC is, a commissioning source, you're going to have to do whatever the active duty commitment is, and then you can go to the reserves. If you go to the reserves, you will go to officer training school, which is the exact same school now for all three. So if you do not do ROTC or the Air Force Academy, OTS is your final option as an Air Force pilot. So everybody goes there. The Guard goes there now. The Air Force Reserve Command goes there now, and then active duty. So you're all together. It's all the same commissioning source. So yes, you do have to go to OTS. There's no way around that. I do appreciate the fact that you want to fly the F-16. I agree the Viper's a great airplane, but just keep your options open. Broaden your horizons. Don't be stuck on one airplane, because the goal should be to be a fighter pilot, not to just be an F-16 pilot, because there's a lot of good airplanes out there. Having flown the F-16, which I thought, it's the best plane I've flown, but the F-18 is also, they're neck and neck. I think they're both awesome. Last question. Hey Mover, this is from Daniel. Hey Mover, just to start, sorry if any of these are repeat questions. I've seen most of your videos, but not all. 22 years old and in the process of enrolling in my local junior college, pursue a degree and become a pilot in the Air Force or Navy. I started this process with the hope I could use my father's GI Bill, but he didn't transfer it to me during the active duty, so that looks like a no-go. My concern is my age and the financial toll it might take. If you have any information that would help me and others in this situation, that would be great. I also wanted to get your opinion on ROTC. The closest one to me is more than an hour away, but I've been told it's the way to go. One of my old friends just got a pilot slot, and I don't think he's even graduated yet. Thank you for all the content. Keep blue side up. Daniel. All right, so what is the question here? Financial toll it will take. Yeah, college is expensive, right? It's unavoidable. You have to be, and I've gotten this question before, you know, if you have to have a degree, and the answer is yes. To be an officer, you have to have a degree, and to be a fighter pilot, you have to be an officer. So there's no way around it. As far as paying for college, I mean, this goes for the high school kids especially. Get a scholarship. So do well in high school and get in sports or, you know, primarily academically so that you don't have this debt. Once you get there, there are ROTC scholarships if you've done the work, the legwork to have good grades in the beginning. And if you're not eligible for an ROTC scholarship or any academic scholarship, now you're looking at student loans and stuff like that. If student loans, you don't want to, you know, I think all you need is a degree. So it doesn't matter if it's from Harvard or, you know, your local community college. It's just you have to have a 4-year degree. So if your goal, get something that is relevant in the real world, but there's no reason to put yourself into a lot of debt by going to a very expensive private or state school when you've got something local that you can do. Just to get the degree, and then you can start applying to OTS boards and you can start applying to Guard Reserve units. The key is make sure your GPA is high and competitive, and make sure that it's in something that you can fall back on if the pilot thing doesn't work out. With that said, if you still cannot afford, you know, the cheaper schools, which again, cheaper does not mean not as good. I went to a 2-year college, Louisiana State University at Eunice. And I think a semester was like $1,000, $1,200 or something. And it was some of the best teachers, professors that I've ever worked with, that I've ever dealt with. I'm still friends with them. They're very high quality. There's a stigma there that I think is undeserved. If that is still outside of the realm and you need someone to pay for college, then the next option is to enlist. You can enlist in a Guard Reserve unit near you and get exposure to that unit and be a crew chief or be an intel analyst or something, and get experience and get exposure that will help you get a pilot slot with them later. So that's always an option, and you'll be eligible for the GI Bill, provided that you serve the amount of time active duty or go to, or deploy and all that stuff. So that's really your final options at that point. Other than incurring student debt and stuff, but it's required. It's just something you're going to have to suck up and do. As far as my opinions on ROTC, I think it's great. Deuce went through ROTC. He talked about that in his video. It's something that a lot of people do. There's a lot of pilot slots available, and if you've got a cross-town commute, I think it's totally worth it, especially if you get that pilot slot. So definitely something I would consider if that's what you're interested in. All right, that's plenty of questions for this episode. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. What else do I want to say? Nothing. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.